what's going on, you guys? So in this video, we're going to look at Booleans and if statements in the Rust programming language. So Booleans work the same way as they work in any other language. You have true and you have false, like so. And you can also convert them into integers. So we can say print line and we can say true will be true as you ate. And we can do the exact same for false. So we can say false and false as you ate, like so. We can go ahead and run this. And wait, let's run this again. I think maybe. Yeah. So we get true as 1 and false as 0. So pretty basic stuff. But now let's go ahead and write some if statements. So I'm going to create a new file. I'm just going to call this booleans.rs, like so. So now let's go ahead and create a function that will take a career or a name, and then based off your name, it'll give you a career. That'll make a bit more sense in a second. But first, I just want to create a run function so we can just import this rather than import each function that we write into our main.rs file. So let's do something like career or get career, like so, and this will take in a name and that will be a string. And to kind of specify the string, you have to pass in this ampersand str, and that's basically, in short, it's saying an immutable string, so a string that will not change. And if you're passing strings, this is usually the way to do it in Rust, but we'll see more of that in the future. And this will not return anything. And we can do something like if name equals James Bond, then we can print out something like you're a spy, like so. And then so that's the if case. So if the name that we pass in here equates to James Bond, we'll print this out, and it has to be exactly equal to James Bond, not like lowercase j or anything like that. It's the exact way we're seeing it here. And then we can also write an else if. So else if you're unfamiliar with if statements, else if is, okay, if this condition doesn't work out, then do something like this. So else if name equals, say, Harry Potter, then we'll return or print out something like you're a wizard, like so. And then finally, if it can't figure anything else out, if you give it a name that it does not recognize, then we can just say print line and say not sure what your career is. So that's our get career. So if the name is James Bond, print you're a spy. If it's Harry Potter, you're a wizard. And if it's nothing else or otherwise in the else statement. So else, so anything else that we don't know what that name is or what that career would be, then print out not sure what that is. Let's go ahead and run this a couple times. So first one, let's do James Bond. And then let's do this one, the last one being with a lowercase j and a lowercase b. And then the second one, we can just say Harry Potter. So in the first case, we expect you're a spy. In the second case, you're a wizard. And in the last one, not sure what your career is. And that's because this James Bond has been spelled all with lower cases. And this expects it for the first letter of both the first name and last name to be uppercase. So now back in main.rs, we can, let's first of all I'm just going to comment it actually, just in case you want to note that down. But we can go ahead and import it and say mod booleans, like so, and we can say booleans get career, or not get career, sorry, run. In actual fact, let's just not make this a public function so we can't use it elsewhere, as this function will only be used in this booleans.rs file. That's why I have removed that pub. And back in here, we can do cargo run. So we get the following output: you're a spy, you're a wizard, not sure what your career is. And if we pass in any other name aside from James Bond or Harry Potter, then we should get this lost, not sure what your career is. Now, the other thing I want to show you is you can write an if statement and set that to the, you can make a direct if statement. And that basically sets a value or a variable based on the conditions. And so to do that, and I think you'll see what I mean in a second, but back in here, if I were to, let's create a function that does get grade, and that will take in a score, and the score will be U8. And that's an unsigned 8-bit integer. And this will return a char, so a character. We haven't really covered that, but a character is basically a single letter, and it's always represented inside a single quote marks, not double, as you see here, it's single. But what we can do is say let grade, which will be a character, and that will be if the score is, let's say, greater than or equal to 40, and score is less than 50. So this double ampersand here is saying both these conditions have to be met. That's why we have, so if the score is greater than 40 and the score is less than 50, we'll say the grade is a D. So you get a grade D. And then else if the score is greater than or equal to 50 and less than, and the score is less than 60, then the grade will be an E. Else if score is greater than or equal to 60 and score is less than 70, then we'll, not an E, sorry, a C, and this will be a B. And then we can do else if the score is greater than or equal to 70, we'll say it's an A. And the reason why we're still getting these kind of red squiggly lines, or if we were to run this, this would it would fail at compile time because we need a else case. So the reason we need an else case is if any of these don't match, grade still needs a character. So we say at the end else F, like so. And then finally end that with a semicolon. So that semicolon is always a bit of a bugger, like you have to write that in. Sometimes it doesn't seem, like here we don't have a semicolon, just make sure you do, as this is kind of like more like a statement than like an if conditional sort of thing. And then finally we can just return grade. We can write return grade like so, or we can just remove the grade, the return part, and just say grade, as the last line or the last expression in a Rust function is the return type or the return value. But yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, you don't need the semicolon there as well. So a couple little gotchas, but that should be fine now. So what we've got is grade will be set based on the score. So if the score is greater than or equal to 40 and less than 50, D with C, greater than or equal to 50, less than 60, which is C, and then so on and so forth. And if in the event that the score is not, it doesn't fit any of these conditions, then we get an F. So now we can go ahead and use that. So let's do something like print ln, and we can do print ln, call that macro, score is, let's say, 50 or 20, therefore the grade will be get grade, and we can say we'll pass in 20. So now if we run this, we should expect an F. We'll just clear all that, cargo run, and we get score 20 F. And let's just do a few different ones. So if I said 40 and then say 60 or 63 to be a bit exotic, and then 90. So here 40, 64, and then a 90. Now if I run this, clear it, cargo run. So for score 20 we get an F, for 40 a D. So if we go back to our expression here, for 20 it makes sense because it doesn't fit any of these, so it doesn't fit this, so we get the else. For 40 it's if the score is greater than or equal to 40, so it matches that, and it's less than 50, so we get D. And B is, yeah, fits in here, and A as it's greater than or equal to 70, so we get an A. But yeah, that's really about it with if statements. There are other ways of writing kind of conditionals like match, but we'll get to that at a later point. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and also subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.